Why are you trying to be so quick? Don't go live. We're not ready yet.
We are live now.
Hey, we're not, but we're not ready yet.
What's happening? All
Oh
right.
man.
I am. What's wrong? Is it really delayed?
No, I can't tell yet. I haven't listened to it. I need to. We're not officially live yet. There we go.
I feel like we're live. Okay. I'm going to kick this off so we can start talking about our shit.
Oh, something sounds so hollowy, echoey.
Yeah.
That does not sound good, whatever it is.
Yeah. John and I sound like we're major echo.
Are you hearing that from my stream?
We don't know. Hollowy sounding. But I want to talk. I got so much to say. I can't see any options when you open up the drop down like that. What are you doing? I don't do that. That's all wrong. New pages, they don't have tracks.
If you're joining us, welcome to Watch Us Set Up OBS.
Shouldn't this be on Twitch, not on YouTube? Isn't that where all the cool kids do their streaming of how they do things?
We are on Twitch. We're everywhere, man.
I feel like that violates somebody's terms of service.
I don't know. We don't have any exclusive deals about these, so I think we're okay. You got it?
You sure?
You got it all fixed? All right. I'll turn my volume back up at some point. Should I kick off the show, though? So, if you're tuning in, we appreciate you catching us live. We are working with new OBS setup, so feel free to say anything in any of the chats. If you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're in our Discord, just go ahead and give us some feedback.
Periscope.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can chat. Yeah, you can chat on Periscope. Yeah, absolutely. So just feel free to give us some feedback. We're going to go ahead and kick the show off. You're listening to episode 204 of PHP Ugly. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, as always, Thomas Rideout and John Congdon.
My head is cut off in the box thingy that I'm looking at, and it doesn't make sense. I'm all confused.
I know. Well, I'm looking at YouTube. I'm looking at a delay of OBS, and I don't even know where my Skype window is anymore. So I'm all sorts of messed up. But we have a new OBS setup. Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, you really don't care about this, but you should. You should watch us live. It's fun. You know, there's a little after show and pregame and all this fun stuff. But we got a new OBS setup. Thomas is hosting OBS, and we're just working through some technical difficulties. We'll see how it goes. Hey, Shutter, how you doing? Florian?
Florian?
How you doing?
Come on.
Florian? Chat? I don't know.
He's speaking your language.
They're
speaking your language. Come on.
Floridian. I'm not a Floridian.
Florian. Yeah. There's no... What are you talking about?
I am terrible with names, John. Jesse, you're terrible with names. Come on. So, podcast. So, do you have any appreciation for what I've done over the last 3 years? Come on, brother. Tom is. That's by design, Shutter. Due to like feedback from listeners, they've asked us to mute Tom. And Tom's freaking out right now. If you could just hear the tears in his voice. It's like that crackling, I can't do this. Come on, Thomas, get it together. I told you need to be on 1. Put yourself on 1 and put me on 2 and John on 3.
I'm not even going to try sharing anything right now. This is a nightmare. Yeah, so now everyone's muted. Nope, I'm good. I'm on 1. Okay, let's try. Let's try putting everyone on channel 1.
That never works, but let's give it a shot.
Test 1 2. Oh. Okay, so everyone needs to be on channel 1, and now there's a dog in my office. Hello.
I still don't hear us.
Okay, I just switched it over.
Is that any better? Should we restart the show? I think we should probably restart the show.
I need to give myself a visual. No, I'll just edit this. Restart the show. Move forward.
The OBS screen share piece keeps freezing on me. I can see you live in the top right in the very little circles.
Stop.
Yeah.
Why? That's the whole point of the show. We are an audio podcast. That's the whole point of it. We're supposed to talk.
Now, see, I got you guys back, but now you're echoing. I promise you this will work. I'm trying to focus on the YouTube channel, and I keep hearing you guys and not hearing you on the YouTube channel. So it's going really well. Yeah. That's got nothing to do with it.
So maybe try setting that up. But replace myself with you. So set yourself up on all 5, put me on 1 and John on 2.
But he has 6. This can't work out. It's gonna go to hell.
Okay, let's
He
see.
has volume 11.
Let's see what this does.
Volume 11. What are you talking about? So
Come on,
confused.
Spinal Tap. I had 5 checkboxes. He has 6. Spinal Tap. They
Oh.
turned it up to 11. Come on. Why do I have to explain this stuff to you?
Because I don't know Spinal Tap.
Embarrass me. You better hope we're still muted and people can't hear you say that.
It's because you're like
Okay, that actually
2
is
years
working
older than
now.
I am.
So,
Go ahead, John. You were going to say I'm what?
2 years older than I am. I was just never into Spinal Tap. Wasn't my jam.
okay, Eric, go ahead and reintroduce us.
I was more of a Guns N' Roses guy.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll just start from the beginning. Okay.
I thought we weren't starting over. You said we weren't starting over. Now I'm confused.
Thomas wants to be reintroduced because he was muted. I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know what we got or
All
didn't
right.
get.
Are we going to stop talking? Please? Possible? All right, here we go. You're listening to episode 204 of PHP Ugly. I'm your host, Eric Van Johnson, and with me, a very stressed out and probably a borderline breakdown, Thomas Rideout.
Hello.
And a person I really don't know why I'm friends with, John Congdon.
He is a...
Thomas, thank you so much for taking the time to set this up and get it working in a more reliable fashion.
Oh my God, we literally have not even working yet.
Oh, I'm trying.
Thank you for trying to relieve Eric from this duty.
I'm trying to make it look
I
pretty
appreciate-
too, and
I appreciate you taking
You did a good
this
job.
off of him.
Pretty. Okay, so now I have to re-explain to the people listening to the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast, we made some changes to our live stream. We have a new setup. Thomas spent a lot of time doing design and all this other fun stuff. So we look kind of cool. You really should watch our live
Are you sure about that?
Subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Twitch channel or Periscope. I don't know if you can actually subscribe to Periscope, but it's fun. We do some pregame. You get to see us flop around during setup, and then there's after the show we hang out a lot as well. So here we go. We're literally 15 minutes into it, and we're finally getting the show going. How's everybody doing, Thomas? How are you doing, buddy?
I'm a little stressed out, and I noticed that I'm recording in stereo, but I have a mono microphone, so you're just hearing me on your left side.
Oh, that's fun.
No.
Can you turn your gain up? By the way, somebody said
I did turn it up, so we should be good now.
Okay.
Yeah, and they hear you in stereo, Thomas, because our mics do the same thing. So if you go to your local recording, you'll hear it in mono, but when it goes through YouTube and all those channels,
I just listened to it through YouTube. It's definitely playing out of the left channel only.
Again, I don't think you
Yeah, problem for another day. I'm not going to worry about it right now.
I'll complain because that drives me crazy on a podcast. Just saying. I'm sorry, Thomas. That was mean.
That's okay.
Thomas, what inspired this setup, this layout? I mean, did you Fiverr this thing, or what's going on here?
I found a bunch of like free assets and just sort of squeezed them together and got them to work together, and I got us a fancy high-res background picture and decided, I'm going to try and make, because a lot of people are doing this remote podcasting thing that used to do roundtable type stuff. And I keep seeing these video blogs that are really nicely done with 3 people, and ours was not looking nearly as nice as theirs was and didn't have these fancy animations and cool effects. And so I decided I'd take a look at what it would take to get that working.
What was that? Who's buzzing?
John, you making beer?
That was my beer repressurizing.
Oh,
What can I say?
Your beer, which is now
Sometimes
out
it
of business.
Oh, is it really? I had not noticed
Yeah.
that.
Turns out giving away your most expensive piece of the unit is not good business sense.
that doesn't
No, it
work.
didn't play out well.
all these years on the internet and giving away free services and how successful those companies were. Really, imagine that.
At least they didn't take out a Super Bowl ad.
They would have if there was going to be a Super Bowl, but that probably
What
isn't
was
going to happen.
what was the Butler search? What was the Butler search that everybody
Ask
before
Jeeves?
Google? Ask Jeeves. Holy smokes! Yes, Ask Jeeves. Yeah, that was the commercials. I'm like, I remember that was the first time. I'm like, why is there a commercial for this? This is so weird.
Well, that was back in the day where
Yeah.
they didn't think you could sell cars online. So all the ads were for other online things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, so how has everybody's week been?
It's stressful. How about yours?
Stressful, but fun.
Stressful.
I'm coding. I tell you, man, I love coding. I say it every week. I know. I have yet to second guess or regret any of my decisions to become a full-time developer, man. I tell you, there's nothing more. Just getting into that flow, writing that poetry that makes computers do things. I dig it, man.
If
It's
only
my
you would have
jam.
had friends to push you in that direction years ago.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what about you,
Oh.
Thomas?
It suddenly became stressful right at the end of today.
Welcome to my world, buddy. I'm happy to have company.
Yeah, we're working on getting something pushed out, and my boss man asked me, "Hey, can we get this done and pushed out tomorrow?" We said, "Well, I'm having a lot of trouble with it. The JSON format got completely changed the other day, so I'm having to work on reformatting how we're storing the data and everything, and how everything's working correctly." And he said, "Well, we need to get it pushed out pretty quickly." And I said, "Well, I can work on it Monday and make sure it goes out on Monday." And he said, "Yeah, your vacation starts on Monday. You're off for 2 weeks."
And Monday is also a holiday,
Yeah,
isn't it?
so I completely forgot that I have 2 weeks of vacation and have to get this thing done before the 2 weeks of vacation starts.
That sounds like fun.
It's funny to me to think. I mean, this is going to come out wrong, so I'm going to apologize up front. But it's funny to me to think that there's things in your industry, which is the adult industry, that like have these like absolute deadlines. Like, oh yeah, we've got to get this out like by Friday because reasons. And it's just I think
Well, the reasons make
like
sense
deadlines.
because we do a lot of cross-network advertising and work with affiliates. So we've got these programs that are ready.
That's what I know.
Yeah, we've got these programs that are ready to go out, and everyone's waiting for it to be available. And we have mailers going out on our deadlines and huge. So yeah, it's we can face some real hard deadlines that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And just goes to show you. Hey, I wanted to throw something by you guys. I wanted to toss an idea by you guys because we talked last week a lot about Laracon. Laracon US was totally virtual this year, as just about everything else is, which is understandable. We weren't really knocking Laracon for making that decision, but we were just talking about the fact that, at least for me, really didn't have as big of an impact and really not that drawn to it in general. But assuming that we go back to real world conferences at some point, assuming that Laravel is one of those conferences, because I really have a sneaky suspicion that Taylor was probably actually very happy with not having to deal with a real world conference. That if you've ever dealt with a real world conference, it's stressful, it's expensive, there's a lot of money up front. You hope to recover in the back. Most of the times you don't. And there's a lot of coordination, food, facilities, all sorts of audio, video. There's just a lot of work that goes into a conference. If you ever go to a conference, especially a small conference being put on by a user group or something, make sure you take some time and go to the conference organizers and let them know how much you appreciate it, because it is a ton of work. And I'm speaking from experience. I did it. I would do it again because it is, it is a labor of love, but it's a lot of work.
Don't do that to John.
But at the end of last year's conference, not this year, at the end of last year's conference, Taylor had mentioned that he wasn't happy with the format. Like they had changed the format from hour-long talks to 30-minute talks, which made the talks quicker. Some people liked it. I was kind of on the fence. Like I felt there's a place for 30-minute talks, especially the people who are talking about, oh yeah, I started my business with Laravel. Those could be 30 minutes, but there are certain talks that I feel like should be an hour. Mm-hmm. But whatever. But Taylor and I had a little conversation over Twitter, over DM. It wasn't on the public stream, where I pitched an idea to him, and he didn't really give me like a warm fuzzy feedback. He's like, "Hey, thanks for the feedback. I'll keep it in mind," sort of thing. But more like, "Stop talking to me. I really don't like you that much."
That's pretty warm and fuzzy for him, though.
It's true, right? He didn't use a curse word or anything. So let me pitch it to you, because I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was a perfect fit for Laravel. It doesn't really change the format at all. I mean, like I said, the 30-minute hour talks, I think, is still something that should be looked at. But what I told him is, so Laracon is typically, 2 days or 3 days? I think it's 2 days, right? I think Laracon was typically 2 days.
Yeah.
I told him, extend Laracon by a day, make it a 3-day conference, but make it actually 2 conferences. Make the open source conference, which is a cheaper conference, where you talk about the open source aspect of Laravel, where people can, like Frick can talk about whatever packages he worked on, and all that open source stuff that's free for everybody. You make it a cheaper conference, like $100, because it's for 1 day. You don't serve food, whatever. It's the open source conference for Laravel. The second conference would follow it the next day, and it would be kind of the commercial or business conference for Laravel, where he can, companies can talk about services that they have for Laravel, paid services that they have for Laravel. Whoever, Taylor, Adam, whatever business pitches they want to do, that's where they would do it. And of course, that would be more to the cost of a regular conference, or maybe even a little bit more, because it would be a commercial conference. Businesses,
but isn't it funded by the people giving the talks?
What?
Wouldn't the...
No.
So, see, well, if they're a commercial entity making money off Laravel, giving a talk about what they are doing with Laravel, they should be a sponsor giving a talk at this conference. Is what it sounds like.
Right. But even like the IBM, I think what Thomas is saying, even like the IBM conference that we would go to, we still had to pay to go to the IBM conference. It wasn't a free conference because we were an IBM client. So no, there's still a cost for people to go to it.
No, that's not what he said. But they would still be like a vendor. They would be a sponsor of the conference
and
talking about their product, but I would be more interested in knowing that type of stuff, what people are doing with Laravel, how they can use it commercially, than necessarily an open source thing.
What do you guys think of this idea?
It's interesting. I mean, I like the notion of separating it. My concern is those talks becoming too sales pitchy versus
that's a real concern.
Versus a usable, like, how I could use Laravel to better my business.
Well, the sponsored talks have always been pretty sales pitchy.
Well, to be fair, he didn't say sponsor talk. We interpreted it that way, being more commercial.
Well, who knows what he said?
It could be
to figure out some way to interpret.
The idea behind it is that the second conference is really focused for people who make money off Laravel, whether you're a developer, whether you're a company that uses Laravel in your shop, whether you're a company that builds a product on Laravel.
I see what you mean.
That's your conference. The first conference is for the people who are still in love with the open source aspect of Laravel. Hey, I'm a hobbyist. I'm getting into Laravel. I'm into open source. That's their conference there. And the idea, really, to be quite honest with you, is that you would have a lot of overlap where people would just go to both conferences, because if you're going to the commercial conference, another $100 to spend on the open source conference and see what open source direction Laravel's taking is probably nothing to a commercial entity. And you might not have so much overlap for people who are interested in open source going to the commercial one, but I think you're kind of the real demographic you're shooting for are the commercial kind of conference goers,
which is what they're probably targeting in general anyway.
I kind of feel that way.
It's like, how can DiegoDev as a company make money off of Laravel versus I can't see that many open source people paying to go to a conference and what they're getting out of a Laracon.
Oh, well, have you never seen Scale?
Yeah.
Scale is a massive conference and it's all open source.
I think Scale was also free, wasn't it?
I don't think so. I think you had to pay to go to the. I think the exhibition hall was free, but I think if I remember correctly, you had to pay to go to the talks.
I don't remember. We went one year. We met some weird kid who just had a kid, but that's the only time I've ever been.
Well, and we were also hosting a table there. We were asked to host a table there, so we kind of had it.
That's right. I forgot about that part.
Yeah. Yeah, we were working. You remember?
That was so long ago.
I think there's still a huge. I mean, I like to feel like there's still a huge open source community around Laravel, and this has always been kind of one of my gripes with Laravel is I think the open source community aspect of it gets pushed to the side for the more structured ecosystem of Laravel, where it's sure you want to call it a community. If you pay me $5, you can call it whatever you want. I still think there's very much an open source community of people who just enjoy coding, your hobbyists, people like that who would be willing to pay for $100 or $150 to go to a one-day conference for Laravel.
Now, I can say one of the things that Taylor focused on, I think it was 3 years ago, was the artisan mentality, where the people who were using Laravel were making small SaaS projects, and it was this sort of like handmade small project community. And that's something that I've seen missing from the latest Laracon stuff, where it's about larger projects or technology implementations or the newest thing, but I don't see a lot about the small business elements.
Well, yeah, I hear what you're saying. The small business element was kind of one of the things that I found frustrating. The talks of, hey, we started a business with Laravel. We created a service that checks license plates.
Well, not that. That's not what I mean. I mean like getting up and running quickly and creating an easily deployable solution. I mean, were there any talks about deployment this year? I don't think there was anything that had to do with the Kubernetes or.
That's part of it. It's been a week now, and I still have yet to go back and watch any of the videos that, like, I wasn't really interested in. Like, I couldn't even tell you what half the talks were because I just didn't care.
A lot of them were the sort of motivational type conversations.
Right. I just watched Twitter to see which talks people were talking about and why, And then I still haven't watched those. I watched Taylor's. I think Taylor's is the only talk I watched from end to end. Oh, and Livewire, Chris, I watched his. I think those are the only two talks I watched.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let that one slide by.
But even Adams, I saw like the beginning of it. I saw what he was going to talk about. I'm like, okay, this is a typical Adam Wathan. This is how I code. I have this idea for the pattern thing.
I liked his talk.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I meant to go back and watch it after you said that because I'm kind of a dick anyways, and I'm like, I really should give this another listen, and I haven't because I just don't care, and I think that's part of my disconnect with these virtual conferences. It's like, all right, well, have the video. If it's anything that earth-shattering, I'll go back and watch it, but
well, I still have my list.
I didn't meet. You know how many new people I met at that conference? None. I met no new people. Nobody came up to me. I came up to nobody, which, a lot of lawyers are appreciating right now, but it's just, I lost
well, no,
that.
They're not appreciating. They're missing that business is what you mean.
That's true. I really missed that aspect of it. So, I don't know. I just thought I'd toss it out there. I realized that, I don't know. I think it's a brilliant idea, but I've had millions of brilliant ideas that didn't work.
Like PHP Ugly?
I think that was my idea.
Just saying.
Wave PHP.
No.
A lot of things.
Eric brought up PHP Ugly long before.
Oh, okay.
He's been talking to me about that for years. You probably pitched like just a podcast, and then he was like, I've been thinking about doing this forever. Sorry.
Yeah, I actually have to explain to people too. I'll say, well, I can't do something Thursday night. I have a podcast to record. And oh, you have a podcast? I say, yeah. What's it about? Software development. Oh, cool. Anyways.
Well, that's better than my wife. So Rebecca, my wife works at night. Those listening to the show might not know this. I know you guys do. But she works typically from 9 at night to 9 in the morning, with the exception of Thursdays. She has an outstanding request not to be put on Thursday night. Occasionally that, we overlap where she has to come on. She tries to push it as late as possible, but last week she was here all day, or not all day, during the whole show. So she was next to me working. She just told the people that I can't answer phones for the first hour and a half because, Eric does his podcast, and the exact same thing. Oh, he does a podcast? What's it called? Oh, it's called PHP Ugly. What's it about? I don't know. Geek stuff. Okay, can you take this case?
I don't know. I've never listened to
about
it.
Where it ends. If it doesn't have gaming in the title, they don't care.
All right, let's.
To be fair, I have friends that are not geeks that listen to our show, so
yeah, but
it must be me.
Well, you have friends.
You talk about a stressful weekend. Oh my God. And you talk about a never-ending story. If you've listened to the show in the past.
I love that movie.
You probably heard me talk about my plumbing issues at my house. So I live in an older house, and not a cool older house, like not a 1940s older house that, has seen the days go by. No, I live in an older house that was born in the late 70s, early 80s, where like cutting corners was the key, and everything is like crappily put together. But I've had plumbing issues for years. John knows this. Is like, it seems like every other week I'm like, yeah, I have a plumber coming over. I've had the plumbing nightmare this week where it was 3 days of them jackhammering the foundation of my house to take out a main line that ran under my house that was clogged beyond clearing. I mean, the poor guy the initial guy who came out who tried to clear it just about took his finger off because everything got jammed up. Gross. Now, let me tell you something. 4 days, or what did I say, 3 days, 4 days of a plumber is not, you think a developer is expensive. My freaking God, plumbers are expensive. Oh my God, I couldn't even tell you. I don't even want to share with you what the final cost was. I had to pull one of my kids out of college. The lines had to be drawn.
That's fair.
Oh man. So yeah, I've been listening to 3 days of Jack, and it's like right outside my office window. Like 3 days of just jackhammering, and it's like,
but let's bring it back to coding. How have you gotten through coding while having jackhammering going on next door?
right here, baby. The Bose headset, noise canceling headsets, baby. I couldn't have done it any other way. And I told John earlier this week, I'm like, I've been thanking you all week for convincing me to buy this headset because I couldn't have gotten through these last couple of days without them. Oh man.
I feel awkward sitting at my desk without them on. Like, I like to listen to like the Today Show on my Google Home that's right here in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for that first half hour, I'll have my headphones off, but I feel so like awkward with them not on my head.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's like whenever I get YouTube playing, it's like I don't want YouTube coming through my speakers because I don't know why. It just doesn't seem right. I need to have my headphones on.
I feel like I'm in a cocoon when I have it on. I'm like, this is how I code. And I've tried other headphones, and the noise canceling just does it. Especially with the kids screaming in the background. Like, oh, I don't hear that anymore.
Yeah. So yeah, I had 3 days without a kitchen, without a kitchen at all. I mean, it was all torn up. Fortunately, we had some really good friends who invited us over for dinner, so that was nice. I'm lying. We have no friends. Nobody invited us over dinner. It's been hell these last 3 days. I got to be lots of takeout. I was just trying to make John feel bad, but he didn't bite.
Yeah, why would I bite? Yeah, I'm sure you got friends like next door that you go hang out with. I don't hang out with anybody with COVID. I don't hang out with anybody. Speaking of which, can I open this package that I received that you said we don't need anymore? It's been sitting on my desk.
Do unpacking, sure. Why not? I know what it is.
Idiot. Do an unboxing on the show.
Unboxing, yeah, unboxing. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
No, it's all right.
You're not gonna open it. I want to see how they look. I don't know if I got the exact same thing. So what John has is I ordered. I couldn't find our Patreon rewards, the PHP Ugly keychains, so I had to place another order. And I don't know if you guys have ever used one of these online create a lanyard service, but there's so much back and forth. Hey, you have to approve the art. Do you want a digital proof? It's going to be another $25. And we went back and forth for like 3 weeks. I finally get it all approved. They finally start developing it. They canceled my original order because I said, I actually want the exact same thing I've already ordered from you. So stop asking me all these questions. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, perfect. As the other side say, you have the PHP Ugly guy on the other side too, coding his life.
But why do I have like 10,000 of them in this bag? Holy cow, we don't have that many listeners.
So that's the thing, right? The first time we ordered it, the minimum order was like 100. The second time we ordered it, the minimum order had to be 200. I'm like, God damn it, I don't need 200 of these things. So yeah, each person's gonna probably get like 5. Pass it out to your friends and family. Thank you, Patreon listeners. We appreciate you. And Thomas has an awesome slide.
So our voices aren't on that slide, but we appreciate you all really greatly. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that.
What do you mean? You just put our little streams on that slide. That's all you do.
But then they show up.
And then you put it at the back of everything, so it doesn't show up.
Okay, well.
Don't worry about it.
That'll be working next week, along with some other cool new features.
In other words, there's going to be no more transitions for the rest
No.
of the show.
That was the only
That's
transition
the only
we
one we
had.
get. Yeah, now that you pointed out the Firefox one. Oh no, the Firefox one does have us.
Firefox. Oh, yeah, transition to
I don't have
Firefox. Kick it
I don't
over there
have
for
anything to show.
let people see it. Show them Zencast. Oh no, don't show them Zencast. Everybody go to the
Yeah,
link.
that wouldn't be good.
Everybody just be popping.
I
in
do
here.
have something I can show you guys.
Wait
no.
on us. I don't think the listeners of the podcast care too much.
No, but it's something we can talk about. So,
okay.
The news is in. The news is done. It's been officially declared. Attributes will be #, square bracket.
No.
Pound sign square bracket. Ugh. That wasn't my favorite.
That was like my fourth favorite. What are you talking about?
So explain to people listening to the show what we're talking about, because that's one of the feedback I get. We start rambling about something and don't talk about what it is.
Attributes initially got the @ syntax for PHP 8.
So let's talk about let's talk about what attributes are first.
Attributes
that
are similar to the doctrine attributes. They are sort of out of scope of the code, but define some functionality of the code. They were approved for PHP 8, but there was a lot of infighting about what the syntax should be for it. The approved version was @, but it was quickly decided that even though syntax or the attribute stuff was important, the @ syntax wasn't necessarily the best. So after...
Well, I just want to clarify a little bit more with the attributes. It takes it out of comments, which is what DocBlock uses now, right? And through reflection, you would be able to get the attributes and take some sort of action on this. So different things will be able to use it. Like you said, doctrine, you could annotate what your columns are in your database. You could have some sort of script that would find what is needed for class instantiation, right? So it would help automate some of that.
Right. So and it
actually you can do that through type-ins now.
Well, it 100% depends on the framework that you're using, or if you build your own framework for using it. PHP natively isn't going to know or care about this stuff at all. It's just now that it's an official attribute, there's a way of tokenizing it so that new framework functionality can be built that uses it.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a framework either. You can use reflection outside of a framework.
Sure, yeah, you can build your own.
Perform magic.
Yeah, you can build your own little magic worky thing. I wouldn't recommend it. Just use whatever framework starts using it. But it'll be handy in the future, but it's going to be a while till it gets really used. However, the big fight is over. I don't understand the technical elements behind how they did this vote, because there was a first preference, second preference, third preference thing going on. And if we go down, we can look at what they call the STV.
Did you don't have this link in Trello, do you? I don't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there. I see it now. Of course, I say that it's the last link.
So I have no idea how to correctly parse this, but it looks like a pretty unanimous vote.
Hey, Thomas, can you zoom in on your side? I assume that's small for everybody. Just do a super key plus on that one.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
So
right.
with everyone voting, it looks like most people's first preference was the # square bracket. I believe one of the features of this is that it allows for attributes to be commented out in previous versions of PHP. So you can have attribute language in your code and it'll be backwards compatible.
That makes sense.
And I think that was really the biggest selling point. Um,
because backwards compatible would just treat it as a comment.
right.
Right.
Uh,
Gotcha.
although,
So it allows frameworks that want to stay 7 compatible to also be 8 compatible.
right.
Gotcha.
I don't know in practice how well that's going to work out, because if you're using attributes, then you've just got missing functionality, and if you want to be backwards compatible, then you just say 7.6 or 7.4 doesn't get this. But that's the end result. We're stuck with it now, and I believe the current build that is out there is now using that attribute syntax. So
I'm excited about this. It's one of those one of these things that's been in doctrine for a while. That I'm like, that's cool. I mean, I do feel like it's a lot of magic, and that makes me freak out a little bit. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of the syntax, but I'm excited for the implementation.
yeah, it's interesting. The other big thing this week is the Laravel upgrade guide.
Yep. So Laravel 8 is officially, the documentation has officially been released. So it's out there to read. If you go to the Laravel site and go to documents, it's there now. I think you have to select 8 right now because
Master.
it's still, it doesn't,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't, I don't think it hits master until the 8th. I think that's when it's officially released. So I don't think it's master yet. I could be wrong. Oh, you're on the docs right now. Well, just go to docs and what's on master.
Same thing. Oh no, it's not.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. So you do have to select 8. I think that just got moved.
Yeah. You have to select 8. So that's cool because I actually first Laravel 8 app today. So Laravel also released a new installer. So you're supposed to be able to just upgrade it. So Laravel has an installer you install with Composer, Global, or Require Global, or Global Require. What Require Global, I think it is. It's installed in your system. It's not a per project thing. You're supposed to be able to do an upgrade to that and get the new installer for myself. And I noticed this was also mentioned in Laravel News later, so I didn't feel so stupid for having to do it. But for myself, I had to do a uninstall of the Laravel installer and then do a new install of it.
Really?
And I got the new one. Yeah, the upgrade didn't seem to want to upgrade it, but I got it. I installed. So the cool thing about it is it actually has a switch you can pass with it called Jet. It's --Jet, and that will initiate the workflow to install Jetstream. And when you install Jetstream, it says, "Hey, do you want to use Livewire or what's the JavaScript bridge thing, Inertia?" And then once you pick that, it says, "Hey, do you want Teams or do you not want Teams?" And I said, "Yeah, go ahead and include Teams." Got it installed. It was nice. I mean, it's just a base install of Laravel, but you have user registration that has profile management, that has 2-factor authentication, that has team management, all with no additional work. It uses Tailwind. Obviously, I chose Livewire.
Obviously.
It's very, very clean. It's got a dark theme to it now. It's nice. We mentioned last week we have a new project that I'm kind of have on the back burner for another week because I want to go ahead and start with Laravel 8 with it, but it's cool. It's fun.
So is there an upgrade guide from 5.2?
I don't.
5.2.
I'm asking for a friend.
I don't think there is.
No judgment.
Yeah, it's called JMac. Use a shift and just baby step your way through it.
So we have you read through the impacts, the high impact and medium impact stuff?
Now, Thomas, you know how I live. Of course I have not. Come on.
So the biggest thing, I guess, is model factories.
Well, so that was the big thing. That was the one thing that Taylor talked about last week was they redid factories. It's not that big of a thing. I'm not reading the impact, so maybe you have more information, but
It's on the screen.
it's not that big. It's not that big of a thing because if you're upgrading an existing application that has a bunch of factories, they have a legacy factory package you can include to keep your current factories
Yeah,
working.
but then are you really
But-
upgrading?
It's just a factory, dude. It's not like it's a core component of the application. Right? I mean, am I wrong?
I don't know what if your application uses model factories a lot.
I can't think of a real use case where you would use factories as part of the. I could obviously be wrong, but
Well, and then there's a couple queuing things that they're high impact, but they're easily mitigated. And then pagination defaults, which I really disliked. The paginator now defaults to the Tailwind CSS framework instead of Bootstrap. So all of your styling, once you upgrade, is broken until you go back into your paginator and tell it to use the Bootstrap method. Which...
What? Wait, what? Why would it use something specific to a front-end framework?
I don't know.
I'm
Well, so pagination, when you call the paginator to draw the links on your screen, if you don't use your own custom paginator, then it will style it with Bootstrap. Well, it used to style it with Bootstrap. Now it styles it with Tailwinds.
Okay. This is why I don't use Laravel. That specifically, right there. That's the one reason.
It's a weird
I refuse to
weird
use it.
move. I like what Tailwinds gives us and everything, but it's a weird move.
where is this upgrade you're looking at? I'm looking on your screen. I don't see where you're at. Where's the upgrade at? If I'm on Laravel 8 docs, I'm on installation.
You're not in the docs. It's
Scroll
in the
down
upgrade
to-
guide on the left.
Where's the
left
upgrade
nav.
guide? I'm an idiot. I don't see it.
Prologue upgrade guide.
It was a link that was in Trello.
Still,
You just have to
okay.
scroll down. Yeah, you have to scroll down past framework, past mail.
Okay,
Pagination.
I'll get there. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
aside from that, there's some interesting changes to maintenance mode.
That's actually very cool. Oh yeah. See, I was gonna complete. That's actually on master. There you go. Upgrading to 9 from 8. 9. What? What am I misreading? Upgrading.
Master is
Master's
not, yeah,
now set up
Master's,
for the next one.
he moved that today.
But what's 9? Aren't we just going to 8?
But he's preparing for the next version.
Yeah, the release for this is what, in like 6 days?
Right. Yeah, it's the 8th. It's 8.
So, as you could tell, 8 is already considered done. He's already moved on to 9.
Yeah,
8 is now just going to be security fixes moving
there
forward.
will only be 3 patches a day for the next week.
And then it will drop quickly to 2.
Yeah, and then it'll be 1 a week for the rest of my life.
What are you talking about?
I'm
Rest of
sorry, I
your
kept
life? You got like 6 months until you're on 9. Congratulations. You're light speed.
Another interesting feature of Laravel 8 is time travel in your tests.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You talked about maintenance mode. That's where I interrupted you. I apologize because I did want to touch on that. It's cool. Maintenance mode is actually cool. So if you're not aware, there was a PHP artisan command where you could put your site in maintenance mode that basically brings the site down so that anybody visiting your site knows it's down. And they added some pretty cool features to maintenance mode, which one of them is allows you to bring the site down, but you still have access to it. Like you can allow access to the site from certain pages. You can allow access to the site with a password. It's pretty slick. I mean, I'm still not a fan of the idea of bringing down your site for maintenance. I guess it happens to bigger sites, but it seems like there's always a better way to handle that. Yeah, I like that.
Now when you're making a big database change, if you know a
That's
database
true.
migration is going to take hours or tens of minutes, you don't want people hitting your site in the middle of that.
Yeah, so this new maintenance mode allows you to look at your site and say, okay, the database migration is done. You can still look at the site, say, yep, it's done, and then bring the site up, and that's pretty nifty. I like that addition. That was cool. All right, I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm done interrupting you. Carry on. And you're muted again. What did
Then
you
we have
do?
time travel.
So time travel's interesting. Would you care to talk about this one? Because I did not know about this one.
It's a helper feature for testing that lets you set the date of the activity of the test. So
Of the object, right? Of the, like, whatever this
Right.
is.
So you can fake where you are in time to make sure that your methods for handling time issues are properly handling time issues.
But can't you do that already with? I mean, I do it outside of Laravel using Carbon and
Yeah.
setting the date manually.
Yeah, that was why.
Yeah, I think this is just is to make that easier.
That was why I
So-
put it
so,
in
like-
here, is because it doesn't make things easier. It's a
It
helper
does, though.
function for a thing that already existed, and
Well, is that what literally all helper functions
Yeah.
are? Or things that are. This is just like a one word, like you have a user who subscribes. You want to make sure that they're on the free tier. You want to make sure everything works, and then you want to fast forward that 2 weeks after the free tier ends and make sure they don't have access to features. And this is
Carbon,
just
Carbon already has
yeah,
that.
it's
right, but this is just a helper feature that says, okay, this, dash, what's the time or time? What is it? What is the actual command? The helper. You don't have it up.
yeah, I do. It's time.
Yeah. So, good.
It is travel.
It's what? Travel. So you say plan : travel 2 weeks. It's, yes, you're absolutely right. You can do it with Carbon. You can do a lot of things, a lot of helpers the long way. This is just meant to make it easy. I like the idea.
I like it, but this is again abstracting away from PHP into Laravel exclusive life.
It's a framework.
I know, but
Oh, you're saying if you buy into this, you're buying more into the Laravel ecosystem?
shut up. I don't like how much
That was sharp.
I don't like how much the Laravel ecosystem is really fracturing from just understanding PHP.
It's just a simple helper, though. I mean, you can say the same thing about Carbon.
I do.
Right? It's like, shut up.
I do got to say, I used the Laravel scheduler this week, and that is nice. Putting in there, pinging Argus before and after was really nice. The fact that we only wanted to ping on production and being able to abstract that away, I wish that Laravel would make that a little easier. I could see a way of within the ping saying I only want to ping in these environments becoming a thing. But in general, you probably don't want to run all your cron scripts in all your environments anyway. That's just beside the point. We currently run a bunch of them in our staging environment, but we didn't want to ping Argus unless we were in production. One thing I did not do was go into the ping before method to see if they even make that an option. I should go look at that.
How ballsy is this? I'm messing with my audio track right now.
You're awesome. You're awesome. I'm sure people are going to say they can't hear you anymore. Hey, John, guess what? And listeners to the podcast, guess what?
What?
We
What?
have wait lists at Argus, and we have people waiting to get into Argus.
All of one?
I should
You
let
can't
them
say
in now.
people when you mean person.
I can say people as long as I don't show you the database.
Well, there you go. Are you giving
Very
it to them for free?
Allow
Are you giving it away for free again?
Yes. But if I had travel, I could test whether or not they will switch to a paid subscription later in life.
Not how it
We-
works.
But now,
We do need a free trial period.
we
I'll
have a
add
free
that to
trial
the-
period. Actually,
Oh.
what we don't have is a paid tier yet. We haven't tested the paid. That's what we need to test. The trial period actually works. I tested that.
I've been trialing it. I've been adding a bunch of crons to it, and I've given some feedback.
I wish
So
I
my
could
job
share
is
it, 'cause it
my
looks
job is
awesome.
done.
What did you think of your experience of the product that you paid to have built?
There's a bunch of changes I want made, but I'm happy with what is there.
Very
It's clean. It's simple. I don't think there's a lot of people that are going to be using it the way we're using it, but there's going to be some where we're going to be tracking for multiple clients. So I go in there and I can see our cron jobs and our clients' cron jobs. I want to be able to see that broken down a little better than what we currently have. So I opened an issue today and saying, hey, I think we should do X, Y, and Z. And I'm sure it's already being worked on because the team at Argus is amazing.
All right.
Sign up now at argus.to.
Speaking of things that we all depend on,
Me. What? Oh.
NTP.
What
Have you
about
guys
it?
Followed?
It's not going away, is it?
Have you guys followed the news about NTP running into some trouble?
So
No.
I had a
Well,
why
hang on. Before you say that, NTP, Network Time Protocol.
Yes.
It's a way of keeping servers all in sync, everyone on the same time. Go ahead, Eric.
not only a way, the way. Like just about every server out there depends on NTP, and yeah, it's like it is the gold standard source of truth for time for servers. I'm curious why Thomas is talking about this because I had actually queued up a Trello card for this. I don't see one under yours.
I'm trying to find your Trello
Yeah,
card.
under
I can't find it.
Well, so I archived mine, and I'll tell you why. Because when I went back and read it again, it was talking about the financial woes of the maintainer of NTP. So NTP is an open source project, and it was actually touted as like, this is what an open source project is. This is how it impacts the world. Everybody's dependent on it. And it was actually more of a use case than it should have been because it showed how everybody in the world could be dependent on a project, and the creator and maintainer of that project is like dirt poor. This was an issue years ago, and I remember reading about it and talking about it. Then I saw this pop up, and I don't know how I got there. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this conversation from years ago, and I added it to my Trello board. I went back to read it again because I wanted to see what changed. Like, what about this scenario changed? And I noticed another link that talked about how Google got involved, and it sounded like a lot of it got worked out. Like, the guy's not making bank, but it sounds like maybe he isn't as in financial trouble as he used to be. But I looked at the dates on these posts, and these were all posts from like 2015. Like, I don't know how it ended up in my stream
Okay,
again.
I'm glad that you're having that same issue because I guess I just saw it on Reddit and didn't check the date on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is another thing. If you do a blog, please put a date on an article somewhere, for God's sakes. I mean, I just happened to see where this date, because I went back to read it again. I'm like, this story hasn't changed. It's the same thing that they were talking about years ago. And then I'm scanning the page trying to find the date on it, and it was actually off to the side where I finally found it. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an old article. And then I followed another link that said, hey, yeah, Google and Amazon stepped in, and I'm like, okay. So I think Google is doing something as far as maintaining it, and I don't know. It's not as big a story.
There's a reason
That's why
I couldn't find the card.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Fund your local open source project. That's all we're saying.
Yes.
Can I share a funny story that I had this week?
Yes.
Just say yes, and we can move on. So, years ago, I've not done a lot of queue work, and
Q.
at that time, queue, like setting up workers and jobs and sending stuff off to queues to be worked on later. So at the time, I wrote the code that handles all of that for Phone Burner. And the way I set up was a specific queue was listened to by X amount of workers that were run via supervisor D. So you could say, this is a high priority queue. We don't want things waiting in it. We're going to put 4, 5, 6, 8 processes listening to this one queue. But that's all it does. And over the years, the dependence on this system has grown to where now there's 30 some queues. And with the range of processes on there, where some are 8 and some are 1, there's over 100 processes per server listening to all of the queues. But there are some where there's no work to be done. So there are processes just running on the server doing absolutely nothing. So this week, through conversations with some of the other developers, we're like, why don't we make it where they still listen to their respective queue, but if there's no work to be done, they'll stop and listen to all the queues. They'll go say, hey, is there any work to be done? I'm bored. I want to do something. Give me something to do.
Which is definitely an issue I've run into.
This worked great, except for there's one queue that on a daily basis, there's a ton of jobs to be done, but because there's only a few workers responding to it, it's fine. But for about a 15 minutes or so period this morning, somebody sent me over the, we use PMM, which forget what it stands for, but it's basically registering the number of queries to the database, where usually it's probably around 100,000. Yeah, the number's not accurate on here because of the scale at this point. Usually hovering around 100,000 per second. During this 15-minute or so spike, yeah, it went up to between 4 and 5 million.
Holy smokes, man! What happens during that 4 or 5 minutes a day? Jeez.
So it's one section of code nobody wants to touch because we know there's memory issues. So a few years ago, I rewrote it. Instead of the scripts handling all of the users, there's now a script that says, hey, give me the users that have to send campaigns out, and then create a job per user. Mm-hmm. And then within there, the code is so horribly managed where the query to find the campaigns to send is horrible. The code to actually send out the email is horrible. And we've tried memory profiling it a few times through different developers, and it's a pain in the ass. So it's just probably a decade-old mess of code that nobody wants to touch. Mm. Add into that at least 100 processes on one server, which probably scaled up to 2 or 3 servers in Amazon. So you got 1 to 200 processes handling what used to be handled by 4 or 6 processes all at the same time, just hammering the database. Hey, give me this data back and forth. And then I realized one of the queries to the database was in a for each loop, asking every single time, hey, give me this user. Hey, give me this user. But it was the same user constantly. So for what might be, 100,000 for each loop, it was asking for the same data over and over and over.
Yeah, I had an N+1 issue this week too. It's like
It was so funny.
I was unfortunately I was running a debug on it, and like the little model, the hits to the model just kept going, 100, 1,000, 1,500, 3,000. Like, what the hell is going? And it just kept looking itself up like constantly. I'm like, damn it.
It's nice when you have those tools to say, "Oh, I think I can fix this right here."
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so this whole thing with the queues actually got 2 stress tests today. That was the first one where all of a sudden for 15 minutes we're over 3 million, as high as 5 million queries per second. Then a second one comes in where we're using Beanstalk D, and by default, if the job is not done within a minute, Beanstalk D puts the job back on the queue to be handled. So if somebody ran a task, and this task itself, one task would create X jobs. So it may be creating 1, 2, 300,000 jobs, but it wasn't finishing in a minute. So the job went back on the queue. So another worker would come in and say, "Oh, look, here's a task."
I've
Put another couple 100,000.
definitely had that issue.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, we're at 3+ million jobs in this one queue. All of the processes just tackling it like, "Oh, I got it. I can do this." It was just like crazy. So I've been in queue hell and in testing hell this week. Been fun. I've been doing Ghost Inspector testing. Have you guys used that product at all?
No, I've heard of it, but
Yeah.
So Ghost Inspector, it's kind of like a hosted service for Selenium. Basically, you can run your tests. They run it through whatever browser you decide. At this point we probably could bring it in house and put it on Selenium, but we've got the test, like the entire thing set up to run through Jenkins, so it's a pain in the ass to switch. I had 2 fun things with it. One, they have a little Chrome plugin. When you enable it, it tracks what you do and records that so that you can replay it later. And if anyone's used Selenium, you know what I'm talking about. It just works, and it's amazing. It's fun when you have it disabled. I went through an issue a while ago where I basically turned off all of my Chrome extensions because something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to start doing these Ghost Inspector tests." Yeah, I enabled it, and I know everyone that listens to us is very organized, and they have maybe 5 or 10 tabs in their Chrome open. But at any given time, I've got 10 windows, each with 30, 40, 50 tabs open. I enabled this effing Chrome extension. Every single tab resubmitted.
Oh, that had to have been awesome.
I probably had 20 or 30 tabs with YouTube videos open, because I'll just go through and like open them in new tabs, and as I finish one, I'll close the tab to play the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I was going crazy when this happened, because all of a sudden I've got 50 videos trying to play sound. Everything else is like submitting data. I'm like, what?
So
How do I get out of
here?
this?
I don't know if it's a plugin I have or if it's a feature of Firefox, because I use Firefox. But I used to have that same problem when I used Chrome. But now in Firefox, if I open a YouTube video in a new tab, A, it doesn't play automatically, and B, if I start if I am playing it and I go to another tab that has a YouTube video and I hit play on that one, actually I don't know if that does pause the first one now.
No,
But yeah,
Chrome doesn't do that by default. Chrome doesn't start playing it when I open it in a new tab. So
oh,
I'll be on my recommended page, my home page, and
mhm,
I'll choose 5 or 10 videos I want to watch.
mhm.
It doesn't autoplay, but whatever this extension did, however it posted back, all of a sudden they all started playing at once.
Awesome.
So not only did I have all the sound, but I also have everything else that comes with that, as well as all of the all of the Chrome processes or tabs submitting data, so I can't get Chrome to respond at all. It was not a fun time for me.
I've been there. Thomas,
But
are you awake? Thomas looks like he's falling asleep on us.
he is. We're running long. I'll finish this Ghost Inspector story up real quick. However, putting tests in place to test things that you don't already have tested has been amazing, because I've had a PR open now for a while that is frustrating me that I can't get accepted, and it's because there are so many if this, then that, else that conditions in there where somebody will say, well, when I do this, it doesn't respond the same way. I'm like, but that doesn't mean it was responded the right way before. Maybe the new way is better. But then when you fix that way, you break something else. It's been annoying me. So I probably spent a good, probably full week just writing tests to replicate what is currently there, whether it's right or wrong, which I think a lot of it is wrong, by the way. At least it's in tests so that I can run that against new code and say, my new code does what the old code does. Right or wrong, it does it. And
there you go.
Now you deal with it. Fun.
Thomas, you are muted, so you.
I was
so you
muted.
know
I'm
that.
not muted now.
Okay, good.
I figured out the
the
tracks issue for OBS. I now officially know what the problem is.
Are you saying you have not paid attention to us at all, and all you've done is researched OBS?
No.
Oh, okay. Damn.
I was also listening to your Ghost Inspector
monologue
thing.
We call it monologue. It's because I just moved the card. He watched me move it.
We are running a little late, but I do.
What was your OBS issue?
So the OBS issue for anyone who's trying to do the same thing as us is that NDI for Skype injects the entire call, all three participants, into each channel. So by having channel 1 enabled, or track 1, for each participant, you're hearing their version. And because Skype only transmits on track 1, the first person who's enabled on track 1 is the one who is giving the sound for all three participants.
I did not know
so you
that.
basically want nobody on. You don't want Eric and I on any channel at that point, then.
Because my audio is not coming through Skype, I just want either you or Eric. Although, I'm going to have to listen back to the video to see if I'm echoing, because from what I understand, I should be echoing unless Skype is doing the thing it does where local doesn't work correctly.
Yeah, nobody says you're echoing. Well, you're not
nobody's saying anything because nobody's listening to us.
Yeah, we've lost people by now.
We've got 6 live viewers right now. I mean, they might have fallen asleep. I can't
and 5 of them are sitting here on the call with us right now.
Speaking of which, huge shout out to our Patreons.
Thank you.
Thank you, Buttery. The Buttery's here. You know, Buttery's coming in. 11th hour. There you go, Buttery. Yes. Thank you, Patreons. In your, I think Thomas is taking over. He's going to be sending out your Patreon.
That is a negative.
That is what that is. That is a Patreon keychain. They're going for like $50 on eBay.
No one can see that. You're not on the stream.
That's not helpful at all. Appreciate that.
We'll get a picture. We'll get a picture of that thrown up on next week's podcast for you.
So the tier where we said you get stickers, you get a keychain. I like it. Our pocketbook doesn't like it. That's
going to be a apparently a regular thing now because we have 200 to get rid of. So yeah, there you go.
So this has been an interesting learning experience for me getting OBS up and running. But thank you to everybody for sticking along with me while I get it going. The interesting thing.
No, blah, blah, blah!
What in the world?
Eric,
What?
I can mute you from here.
You got OBS, man. What are you talking about? I'm coming in through Skype.
So 0 dropped frames for all the viewers who have been suffering through Eric's MacBook trying to support OBS. We're running at a cool 24% CPU, 30 frames per second, 0 drop frames for the entire length of the night.
No, blah, blah, blah!
Do you guys hear that?
I think that means
I'm John Congdon.
All right, that's it. Episode 204 in the books. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
I'm Tom.
Get me out of here.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
Horrific. You got muted.
How am I getting muted? What am I
I
doing?
muted you.
Don't mute me.
It's mutiny. You like that? You like my
yeah.
fancy transitions?
I'm calling bullshit on you, Thomas. I'm saying you fivered this thing. You did not do this yourself. You fivered this.
You saw me wasting away on getting this thing working.
Dude, I wasted away hours every week myself just getting things working. I'm just saying this is very clean. I applaud your work, man. This is very good. Very good. I'm glad I have somebody else sharing in my pain of having to do this because it was getting frustrating. So thank you. And obviously your system is handling it much better. So since we're after show and we're still streaming, we'll do a little post show stuff. We could have talked about it on the show. No reason not to. But I ordered my System 76 desktop.
Oh, you did.
I did, and
Is that why you're
I gotta
trying
be
to
honest
steal my
with
OBS layout?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, for sure. But I gotta be honest with you from a business perspective. Once you move our logo then to the other side or something, or in the middle, or behind the letters. From a business perspective, man, I don't know if I can use System 76. So now I ordered a desktop. I didn't order a laptop because I've got nothing wrong with my laptop. Not that I need a laptop even right now, but if I need a laptop, I have it. But I ordered a desktop, and it takes 6 to 10. First thing, they did something really weird, which I didn't get any email on. But you have to go in and verify your order with them through the credit card you placed it on. So they charge your credit card, and they put a code on it. You've got to look at your credit card statement, get that code, and go to this verification page and say, okay,
makes sense.
why does that make sense? I'm just curious. Because they've already charged the card.
No.
But it verifies that you have access to the card. If somebody stole our card and bought a system, they don't have access to that data to get the system.
So a cancel and refund on a credit card doesn't affect your rate or your standing with the company, but a chargeback can ruin you.
Gotcha.
So what they're doing,
fair.
is if you don't confirm it within a certain period, they're going in and canceling and refunding the card and contacting the owner, and they're avoiding chargebacks. And I know this was my livelihood for a long time. Chargebacks will ruin you.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep.
So I didn't know this. I didn't get an email to tell me to look for it. I don't know where that email went, but I actually logged on to see the status of my order a couple of days later, and that's when I saw, hey, we're waiting for you to confirm your order. I'm like, crap. So 2 days had passed from when I initially ordered it to when I confirmed it. From that point, it's 6 to 10 business days of assembly. 6 to 10 business days of assembly.
On a desktop?
Right?
Yikes.
This was my point.
Is that
And then
COVID
there's
time, or
another-
is that regular for them?
There's another. I think I ordered standard ground because I'd already gone over my budget for the desktop, so I was trying
John,
to
you got to kill that
trying
thing.
to cut.
You got to put that thing out of its misery.
Sorry,
What are you talking about?
your beer thing. It just went off again.
I wasn't
So
listening. I was listening to someone else.
I got 6 to 10 business days of assembly, business days, and then I got another 5 days of ground shipment. So I got 15 days before I even get my desktop. Now, from a business perspective, if I get somebody that starts working, I don't know if I can wait that long to order them. Now, they say their laptops are faster. They say their laptops are like a 3-day build, and you can actually have you can pay a premium and get it built right away. And I'm like, how is a laptop built faster than a desktop? I don't understand. But yeah. So
It
I'm
depends
still
on the build quality of the desktop.
well, this better be pretty damn good quality because I totally forgot I was running my Pi on my iPad, and I was just wondering why my iPad was running out of power. This better be pretty damn great quality because, man, I tell you what, I was shocked. I mean, again, coming from Apple, and you can walk into an Apple store and walk out with a laptop or desktop, but even if you order it, it's like 2 days. I don't think I've ever waited more than a week to get a custom laptop from Apple.
Because it's not a custom laptop from Apple. It's a standard, like, they have very specific builds you can get.
Yeah, it's just the motherboard,
But
the RAM, and the drive.
But so does System 76. I mean, they have very limited builds you can get.
PC builds are harder, oddly enough.
I don't believe you. I remember building PCs. It's not that hard. You snap things together, especially if you have all the components there.
Yeah, but you have to worry about wiring and power.
So you're telling me if I go to Dell or IBM, I'd be waiting just as long? I don't
No,
think
not
so.
at all.
Okay, what's your argument then? Why do
They're
you
a small
why are you
shop.
trying to justify something? Yeah, I mean, there's that. They're a small American shop, and I'm willing to give them some business. But man, I don't regret that. I'm not having buyer's remorse from that perspective. But I'm telling you, from a business owner's perspective, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I am excited to get my desktop. I can hardly wait. I've been looking at all this, like, trying to figure out what applications I'm going to lose, and I'm not going to lose a lot. I'm going to lose my audio hijack, which has me concerned. But besides that, I got even my OnePass has a Linux application now, so I'm looking pretty good so far, I think.
Buttery ordered a laptop from HP. It took 2 weeks. Or 14 business days.
So that's about what I'm talking about, right? I said 6 to 10 assembly and another 5 for delivery. So that's about 14 business days. That's 15 business days. So I guess.
Yeah, that's I think that's normal.
I guess that was one of the perks of paying premium in the Apple ecosystem.
As far as your smart tap, John, I believe you got that from Hopsy.
Yep.
Hopsy is not a thing anymore. The domain name redirects to the Facebook page, which has not been updated since May. And if you search for Hopsy, your top hits are the Better Business Bureau Complaints Department.
Interesting.
But you guys already figured out a hack for using other filters.
Yeah.
I've never tried it, so I'm happy I have a couple of torpedoes left to try that with.
Well, and
a
torps,
torpedo.
there are still plenty of businesses making torps. It's just Hopsy as the service is dead. They're the ones who gave away the Keurig device, the sub home tap.
Do you have one of these, Thomas?
No, I saw this coming from literally a mile away. When it became popular in the Slack channel to start buying these things, I said, "This is not going to last." Oh, and then when John got his and I heard it for the first time, that was a definite no.
It's loud, that's for sure. Now, John, is that yours, or are you hearing that from other people as well?
I don't talk to anybody else, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
The fact
We have
that
somebody
I
else
just
that
put it,
has one.
I just put a new torp in it tonight, so it doesn't normally go off every 10 minutes like you've heard there. It usually only does that when I pour a beer. So I don't know if there's something wrong with this specific torp or
here's
what.
how dumb I am. I saw this thing and I thought, man, a home tap would be great. And I immediately went all the way down to the point where I was looking at buying a house.
Stop local, by the way. Stop recording.
I was just doing that.
I was looking at buying a house where I could build a bar so that I
How's your
could run
handyman
lines.
experience going?
My what?
Thomas? Your handyman experience.
It hasn't started yet, but
Oh,
from what
okay.
I understand, the fund is already empty. So I don't have any tools.
You got a shoe, right? You got a hammer. You're good.
I have a hammer and a jigsaw, and I had mentioned this over drinks to a friend of mine while my wife was there, and she went, "Oh no. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know if we have money for tools." Like, my first project was to build something for her. I was going to build something that would have cost her $85 for the low price of $350. I don't see how she can turn that down.
So I finally see what you were talking about. It's fun being on this end of this, Thomas. But as far as like dragging the Skype windows down so I can see OBS and I can see you and John, that actually is very useful. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate it.
So I see things totally different now on this end because I'm seeing
Right.
all the fancy transition stuff. I show you I've got different colors. I can pop open the red swipe, and now we have the red transition.
Come on, you didn't make those transitions.
I didn't make those. I downloaded them. I found a company that makes custom transition stuff.
Can you use the DiegoDev Blue, please?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, all the stuff I can like color wheel and fix up and make it real pretty. I figured
Sup?
this works well as our end of show. But yeah, I've got the whole thing worked out now.
You need to share your. Oh, you don't have a scene to share your.
No, I don't.
Eric.
Yeah.
Should we tell him that this was our last show?
I thought you told him already.
Well, I'm gonna get another drink.
I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. We're 4 shows over our last show, as far as I'm concerned. I was pretty comfortable wrapping it up at 200. I think I felt a little guilty because we got the new mics. I'm like, all right, I can do another 4 or 5 shows.
I didn't tell you the interesting news is I haven't been playing Rocket League lately.
You don't want to lose your Grand Champ status?
Don't
yes.
you lose it if you don't play?
No.
Actually, no, you do if you don't play for 2 weeks. I play it occasionally. But I've been playing Fall Guys.
Have you seen Lethamir's new video he
I
released
don't know
today?
who that is.
Oh my gosh. He's a pro that does content now. He created a Fall Guys map. I've never played the game, but it looks
It's
pretty
a
fun.
living nightmare.
You really think it looks fun?
No, the Rocket League version of Fall Guys looks fun.
Oh,
The game itself, I don't.
yeah.
The game itself, I don't know anything about.
So Fall Guys, you're basically controlling a toddler walking around an obstacle course. And it's
with other toddlers who are trying to knock you off the map.
yes. It is
Yeah.
I am at least 10 hours into the game. I have not
Are you
won a single round.
God damn it, Thomas. If this is how you spend your vacation, I'm going to be disappointed in you.
Well, like I said, that's up to my wife now. I don't have tools.
Is this a Steam thing, or where do you get this?
It's on Steam and Switch and PS4 and Xbox, and I don't know if there's an OS X version. I don't think there is.
He has a Switch.
Well, but I can't play with you if you're on Switch.
Well, that's your fault.
Is it a free game, or do you have
It's
to pay for it?
$20. And really, it will make you hate yourself for $20.
You have to check out Lethamir. I can't believe you haven't seen him. Search for either that or Rocket League and Fall Guys. You'll find him.
What's his name? Lefty?
Lethamir.
Lethamir. Lethamyr.
I'll just look for Rocket League.
He does good content.
Now, see,
I got to give him that.
there's going to be a crossover too, because you know that all the guys are eggs in Rocket League,
Mm-hmm.
and all the guys.
Oh, they're like little Weeble Wobbles.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were people in Rocket League.
No, in the stands,
Oh
it's just
wow,
eggs.
he made Slime Climb. What an asshole!
Yeah.
Slime Climb is the first time in Fall Guys where you really hit the wall. Yep, that's Slime Climb. Screw that guy.
Wait a minute. Is Slime Climb the one where you have no skin?
What?
No, that's not Slime guy. The one Meat. Yeah.
Super Meat
yeah.
Boy?
Meat Boy. That's it. Yeah. Sorry.
No, Slime Climb is either the second or third level you'll hit when you're in Fall Guys on like a regular basis, and it's one of the only maps that's elimination and race style, where if you fall off the map, it's just game over.
See, this is where you should be sharing your browser if you're looking at any other stuff, because I think people would appreciate.
Yeah, I'll pull this on there. It's my one issue is that I have two different.
See, how cool is that? I told you it would work.
Wait.
Thank you, new sub.
Yeah, thank you.
You got too cool of a name. I suck at names, man. I tried it. John, what's the name?
That is. I saw his or something, but I missed it. The screen is too small on my Skype window right now.
Dirk is Jaska? Dirk is Jaska? I don't know. I think he's trying to get me to say a bad word. I feel like he's trying to get me to say a bad
Don't
word.
Say it.
I feel like I want to say it now.
See, you're watching the Lethamir's version of
Yeah,
it.
that's what I pulled up. That's how it's Slime Climb, which is the worst. That Fall Guys is a great.
But
there's so much still wrong with it that they need to work out, and they're working like 1 billion hours a week. It's insane what they're putting out.
Mm.
But yeah.
All right.
So
All right, well, I'm gonna let you guys go play Rocket League. I'm bouncing here. I'm sweating. I gotta turn my fan up. I gotta go.
And I'm thinking next week I might try to get us both playing Rocket League on this computer so we can stream the post-podcast Rocket League matchups.
I will watch that. I will totally watch that.
No.
How are you going to stream my... Oh, you'll stream your side,
Yeah,
not my
I'll
side. Got it.
I will watch that, and then he can still. Do you guys talk to each other while you're playing?
No, but we.
Because Thomas isn't set up for that.
Yeah.
I'm
working on that,
Do it in
too.
Discord. Have a little channel on Discord where you talk to each
Yeah,
other.
I just haven't.
Well, he usually plays out at his TV, not at his computer. So
Oh,
I'd
gotcha.
have to do it on my phone.
when I play with somebody that works for Psionics, we
Somebody.
talk.
He doesn't play with me. He's too good for me.
Nope.
He doesn't even talk to me anymore, so
So
that's true. That's fair.
all right.
All
Bye.
right, guys. Thank
Bye.
you so much. Bye.
Thanks everybody for hanging out. Later.
All right.